talk about competition. I feel very fortunate that I've been able to talk to literally hundreds of people that have wanted to get into business in one way or another. I mean, I've been fortunate to travel to some 30, 35 or 40 countries, foreign countries in almost every continent, and talk on business, and many of them come because they want to get in business. They're kind of tired of working for somebody else, or maybe there's no jobs and that's their only option. And so I love to help and be involved with business startups and business on a small scale. I'm not that good. You know, you got 500 employees and 50 million in sales. I'm not comfortable in that realm. That's not my niche. And so I'm down and let's get started with little or nothing, and let's go grow that to $1 million a year or something in that size. So in those discussions, I have from time to time heard people tell me, wow, I got to get into this because nobody else is in this. In other words, there's no competition. I want to be in there so that I can be the first in, and that way I'll have no competition. Well, let's just dispel that bubble and pop it, because there's no such thing as no competition. I've had people that tell me I got the only person that has this idea to make something or sell something. And I said, you know what? Did you Google search that? Just pop the bubble here and recognize that whatever you think you're the only person doing, there's probably hundreds, if not thousands of people doing something very similar. You may have a little niche, and yes, you may have an edge for a while, but even if you do have an edge and you do have a niche, and the word gets out that you're doing really good with this idea, somebody's going to try to copy it. Somebody's going to try to compete with you. You have to be a good enough business person to stay on the cutting edge and be aware of your competition. Now, early on, this has been in the late 90s, 1990s, 1989, 90, 91, right in there sometime. I had the late now Sam Walton. He passed away probably 10 years ago, but I read his book, Made in America, and he talked about this subject. Yeah, it's a little dated, but he talked about competition, and it was so impactful. I can tell you a little bit about the story. See, he was the little guy. He worked basically indirectly or directly for Sears. He worked for somebody that didn't have the vision that Walmart had, and he had the vision. And the book is a great read even today. But at one point, Kmart was the big giant, and Walmart was the little bitty company. And you know what? He shopped Kmart. He shopped his competition. He went in personally and asked questions. He looked how they merchandise things. He asked what their computer system would. He got all the information he could. He went in as a customer and just analyzed. Today you can send in Ghost Shoppers and see what your competition is selling something for if it's a retail item. So he studied and knew his competition. Not with the idea that he's going to undermine them or just undercut them, but he wanted to know where his niche was and how he could fit in. So in your business, you got to recognize two things. Number one, you will have competition. And number two, how can you be a better service? How can you be a better product than your competition? So people have a choice. At least in America we do. You can buy things at different places. What's going to compel somebody to choose you? So I just really strive hard on asking questions, knowing your competition. In my particular case, I was a owner of a moving and storage company for more than 17 years. And here's some things I did. Word got out that our prices are too expensive. That's why people weren't using us. Or maybe we thought our prices were too low. So about once a year, I hired somebody within our company to be kind of a ghost shopper. Now, I didn't tell them to lie. I didn't tell them, hey, I'm moving to Detroit. I said, I'm interested in the prices to move to Detroit, or I'm interested in a local move. And he would just call up, and never did give them their name, never did give them their phone number, and they just running through the process and say, hey, what's your hourly rate? Does that include a truck? Does that include insurance? Do you bill from when we leave our place of business to where you arrive to you? How do you bill that time? How would I get an estimate from you? And I paid this about once a year, someone to call everyone that was advertising in a similar business with us, and I asked them to make me a little report, a very simple report. And one column said, what's their hourly rate? Another column said, do they charge a truck fee? Whatever your business is, analyze that data. Make sure you know what your competition is charging, if at all possible. It is very invaluable to that. I also had a map. I had a map of my city, and so I put dots on my map. I knew where, if I was near some place, I knew where they were located. It didn't give them much of an edge of where they were located, but when it came time for me to buy or build a building, I kind of knew, do I need a place on the main highway where everybody can see me, or is it okay to be back in the cheap seats where it doesn't cost so much? So I just advocate asking questions. Get off the chair, out of the office, ask questions. You can ask some of those questions through another person, but at the end of the day, you yourself probably, as owner, probably need to ask some of those questions so you know you're getting good information. Now, I'm in a machine shop. I can't visit the other shops. It would be unethical to visit the other shops. So I have a different approach about knowing what my competition's doing. I'm not, first of all, overly worried about my competition. I know that if I continue to provide the best product for the best price and good service and on-time delivery, that my customers want that. My customers in the manufacturing business do not necessarily shop for the cheapest deal. They want the overall best value for their money, and I can find that out from talking to my customers and a little bit of street knowledge. And I can continue to focus in on my customers. I have, in fact, tomorrow I'll meet every other week on Tuesday at lunchtime. I meet with my biggest customer. Happens to be tomorrow, I'll meet with my other big customer in the morning. They're in different fields, so I won't have a conflict there. I choose not to work for two companies that are directly competitors with each other. I think that creates too much of a conflict of interest because they're in competition, and if I have knowledge from both of them, what's the risk of me sharing some of that confidential information? So there's all levels of competition. And so at the end of the day, I think we need to know about our competition. I think we should shop our competition. I think we should be knowledgeable. I think we should be asking questions. I think we should be the best that we possibly can be. And that includes knowing who's competing against us.